Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Michael Bothell. I'm here to give us another installment of our series called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acor. So today I have a question for you. Have you ever had that experience where you decide that, hey, I'm going to buy this brand new car and I really like this make and this model. It seems really, really cool to me. And then as you're driving down the road, you start noticing that that car is starting to show up in multiple different places that you hadn't noticed before. Or let me ask you this. Let's say you have been studying a new language and you practiced every day and you worked with it and you were starting to get some really good progress on it. Or maybe it was the piano. You were playing the piano and you practiced every day, starting to make some improvements there. And then you took a couple of months off. And when you come back, you can't remember the things that you had just learned with language or with the piano or whatever the case may be. Why is that? I'm sure you're going to respond, or one of your first thoughts is, well, you're not practicing every day, or the car is showing up everywhere because it's in the front of your mind. And you're right, that is true, but there's some more science that goes behind it. In the book, The Happiness Advantage by Sean Acor, there's a chapter in there called the Tetris effect. And here's the science part of it. If you have ever played the game Tetris, maybe you're not familiar with it. Tetris is that game where these different blocks kind of fall from the top of the screen, and your job is to line up the blocks in such a way that they make a straight line. And once that line is formed, it disappears, right? And then the next series of blocks comes down, and you got to arrange them and coordinate them and line them up just right so that the line of blocks disappears. And if it gets too much, then it gets overwhelmed and you get to the top of the screen and you have lost the game as well. Well, interesting story that goes along with that. So there was a study done at Harvard where a professor brought in students to play the game Tetris for several hours a day. And they did this several days a week. Just again, several hours a day, just playing that same game, lining up these blocks and making sure that they lined up in the perfect geographical shape so it created a line. Great. The students later would come back and report that they were having a side effect of playing that game. And that side effect is that every time that they would go to the grocery store and they would see that the cans were not lined up correctly or the boxes were not lined up correctly, in their brain, they started processing the need to turn the cans just right so they lined up perfectly, or arrange the boxes just right so that they lined up perfectly. It was an effect of training their brain, again, of these blocks coming down, you got to line them up, and you got to get a little bit OCD and get them lined up just right as well. The same is true with everything that we do in our lives. You may think to yourself, hey, I'm just not naturally a positive person. But the truth of the matter is that your brain is trainable. You can train your brain. Everything that you start noticing in your life is a result of how you train your brain. So if every day you wake up and you turn on the news and it's negative news and negative news and negative news, you are more likely to have an outlook that scans for negative things in your life, things going wrong, right? However, if every morning you wake up and you start a practice of writing out the things you're grateful for, the things that are good in your life, and you start being intentional to recognize those things, eventually your brain will start to be trained in such a way that it scans for the positive and not the negative. Just like the car. Your brain was trained, I like this car, so now your brain knows, look for that car out in the world where it didn't notice it before. So that's the Tetris effect. And here is my challenge to each and every one of you watching this video. For a series of 1 month, just 1 month, 4 weeks, get up every morning and write out at least 2 things, first thing in the morning, that you are thankful for, that you are grateful for. I know, it sounds silly, it sounds weird, but it's absolutely true, and the science proves it beyond a doubt. So if you just train your brain into changing its outlook on life, you will start recognizing those good things that are happening in your world. The world is filled with wonderful things to be thankful for. It's also filled with some negative things not to be thankful for. But how we look at our life right? How we train our brain are the things that are going to scan for. And those are the things that we will use to change our outlook, change our perspective going forward. So that's it. That's your challenge. Let's write out 2 things every morning for a month of what are you grateful for? And not just real simple things like, oh, I'm grateful for my family, but be very specific. I was grateful for my wife who brought me coffee this morning. I was grateful for my kids who cleaned their room without me asking. Those kinds of things. Very specific. All right, that's your challenge. Let me know how it goes. I would love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.